You're listening to a Comics XF podcast.
Matt Lazowitz, and welcome to this week's episode of Bat Chat with Matt and Will, a Batman ranking podcast, where each week my co-host Will Nevin and I dig into 3 Batman stories, discuss them, and rank them on the big board, thus creating a giant list of Batman stories from best to worst. Will, how's it going tonight?
Oh, Matt, it's going as usual, as we were discussing off air. Thanks to me compadre, friend of the show, Will Crisp, and his lovely wife, Kristen. I have signed up for the Rocket City Marathon on a whim, and that's going to be Sunday. So I'm cautiously optimistic about that. It's my second traditional marathon. I've run a longer race in an untraditional ultra format, but kind of winging it when it comes to the training and the preparation. So we'll just see how that goes. It'll be an adventure. But it's Will's birthday, and I'm looking forward to it. He's a good egg, and really looking forward to spending 4 hours with him Sunday. Other than that, I'm excited to be on break almost. I just have a ton of grading to do before Monday. That's several days from now, right? Last time I checked.
You still got a few days.
Yeah.
Only one of which you're going to be running a marathon, so it's not like
yeah.
you'll be able to do that while you're running, right?
Oh, of course. I'll take the exam books with me, and I'll just have them in a satchel. I'll put all my goop in the satchel. I'll have the exam books. I'll just pull them out. I'll flip through them, put them in there, grade them. It'll work out just fine, I'm sure. But yeah, things are just plugging along. My wonderful wife gifted me an advent calendar of bourbon. So I'm enjoying Jim Beam Black at the moment. Was today's bourbon. Yeah, aside from not having any time to see movies because now I apparently read books, specifically Game of Thrones. I got no complaints, Matt. Life is good.
Okay. Sounds like a good time. So, I have a question for you.
Oh.
Right now, Philadelphia's local public radio station, every year they do a big countdown around the holidays. It's
Uh-huh.
usually a different countdown, greatest this of all time, greatest that of all time, voted on by its listeners. This year is the 885, because it's 88.5 XPN, the 885 greatest cover songs of all time.
Ooh.
What is your favorite cover song?
Okay, so I think you got some normie answers here. Hurt,
Yes,
obviously.
that is would have been in my top 10. Number 1, I will be shocked. XPN is real like indie, so it might not, just because who is going to vote as their number 1, the obvious number 1. But my assumption is number 1 is All Along the Watchtower.
Okay, yeah, that's not a bad one. I was just about to say I Will Always Love You.
I Will Always Love You is absolutely one of the ones that I figured is up there.
Let's see what else we got up there. Like anything in the conversation of wow, they took that song and made it
Yep.
theirs, you know?
Jeff Buckley, Hallelujah.
Ooh, good. Shit, I needed time to prepare for this one.
It's one where the minute you think, oh, I've got all 10, then it's like, oh, but wait, there's this one. And oh, wait, there's that one.
I mean, I've got some that I just kind of idiosyncratically like. Social Distortion's Ring of Fire.
Mhm. I love Amy Mann's cover of the Beatles' Two of Us. That whole I Am Sam soundtrack of Beatles covers, excellent stuff. The Beatles' Twist and Shout. Not that they're necessarily to my taste, but I think things that people would have to remember is everything Elvis did early in his career that he stole from, black artists.
Speaking of cover artists and people who appropriated, but I think they lovingly appropriated. Steve Cropper, famously of the Blues Brothers,
Mm.
he just passed away. Shit. I wish I had some better answers, but I love cover songs. I love weird cover bands. Postmodern Jukebox.
Yes.
Um, I can never get it right, especially under pressure. Brass Against, Me First and the Gimme Gimmes.
Oh, I love Me First and the Gimme Gimmes. Absolutely.
So what was their list, or are they still
Well,
counting down?
we're still in. We were at 200, just before, above 200, around 6 o'clock, and that was when they, I think, end for the day at 7. I think it goes like 9 to 7 or something like that each day,
Ah,
and then they re-air that chunk overnight. I think we get the answer. I want to say it's right around this weekend should be the top bit. Oh, you know what? That's the other one that I thought would be a top tenor. Respect, Aretha Franklin.
oh yeah.
Yeah, because that's again,
Cake. Wait, no, 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 not.
Aretha Franklin's Respect is a cover.
I know, but Cake did some cover that was
Oh,
not Respect.
oh yeah.
I Will Survive. There.
Yes, yes. I was like, oh, and it's that whole thing of, there are so many ones where it's like, is that you don't realize it's a cover until you're told it's a cover. Like one when I was listening to earlier today, yeah, Harry Nilsson, I'm not even, yeah, I can't remember. I'm not gonna sing on the podcast. But yeah, there are so many songs that you don't realize are covers until you're told, oh yeah, that's a cover.
Any country music fans out there? Reba McEntire's "Fancy" was a cover.
It's interesting that this had very specific rules on what is considered a cover and what is not.
What would not be a cover that I might think would be a cover?
Well, some things like you couldn't cover yourself.
No, so obviously Eric Clapton's acoustic version of "Layla" would not count as a cover.
All of the Taylor's versions of Taylor Swift's
Ah,
stuff.
I would punch someone in their most delicate private places if they suggested Taylor's versions were covers.
One that is a little more ambiguous but wouldn't count, Unforgettable, the Nat King Cole, Natalie Cole duet version. Since he is the originator of the original Unforgettable, even though it's with someone else, it is not a cover by these rules.
That's fair.
That's a better example than some of these other ones. But yeah, there were a whole other set, stuff to do with standards, with Broadway. That if someone originates the song for the original cast recording, they can't have recorded it as a single. So,
Yeah, that's fair.
uh, or for a film. So, Idina Menzel, Let It Go from Frozen by Idina Menzel wouldn't count. But Cynthia Erivo's Defying Gravity from the Wicked film would, because Idina Menzel is the original cast recording and thus the originator of the song.
I will be interested to see the top 10. I feel like Hurt has to be there. I can't imagine Hurt not making the top 10.
Okay, Hurt, All Along the Watchtower, I Will Always Love You struck me as the three of the really obvious. These are going to be up there. Yeah, the last number they did was 121, and that was Police on My Back by The Clash.
Oh, clearly a good choice for 121. Absolutely spot on.
I'm just looking at some of them. You've got 125 was Heart's cover of Stairway to Heaven. 123 was the Lenny Kravitz American Woman. A
That
pretty
seems about right.
Elton John's Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds at 127.
I will tell you who did an absolute shit covers, I think, series of albums. I checked them out thinking that something good was going to be here, but there was not. Garth Brooks. I forget exactly what the project was, but I think it was like several different sets of covers. Like, oh, this was a cover of 70s rock, and this was a cover of 90s pop, or whatever it was. The easiest place to go wrong to do a cover is to simply sing it in the style of the original.
Then why do it?
Like Tim McGraw did Tiny Dancer, and it's just like Tiny Dancer with a southern drawl. It's not bad, but what did you add to it? What did you do with this? Garth Brooks just did like glam rock. Like it just didn't make any sense, but it was what obviously he wanted to do and nobody told him no.
Of the little thing that they've got here, the list as it is developing, but they also have, as they're developing, two sub lists here:
Ooh.
the most covered artists and the most covered songs on the list.
Ooh, most covered artists got to be Beatles, right?
Number two.
Number two.
Number two.
Number two. Shit. Who would be more covered than the Beatles? Who would be more instantly known than the Beatles?
Singer-songwriter. Poet laureate.
I got nothing.
Dylan.
Oh, yeah, okay.
The top five currently, and this will change as more come along, but I think Dylan's pretty much locked in.
Oh, so
Dy-
this is their list, obviously.
yes, yes, of their list so far up through that 121. Dylan has had 34 songs covered. The Beatles have had 21. Neil Young, 16. The Talking Heads, 13. And the Rolling Stones, 12. Again, XPN tends towards music wonks, so the Talking Heads being up that
Yeah,
high
yeah.
makes a lot of sense. Similarly, the most covered song, so there have been up through 121, there have been 5 covers of This Must Be the Place by the Talking Heads.
That's pretty wonky.
Yep. Number 2, on the other hand, is a much more expected Blackbird by the Beatles.
Yeah.
3 is I Put a Spell on You by Screamin' Jay Hawkins. 4, Dancing in the Streets, the original by Martha Reeves and the Vandellas. And number 5, Baby One More Time, Britney Spears.
Postmodern Jukebox does a real good cover of that.
Oh yeah, there are a bunch of really good covers. And just
I think Me First and the Gimme Gimmes did a real good cover.
number 6, by the way, just because I wanted to add it, because it is one that I thought about various covers of, Jolene.
That's right. Who did?
Miley Cyrus recently did a cover of Jolene that was really, really good. Next week, we will return to you with the answer to what are the top 10 and who wound up in these top 5. Okay, we've been going on even longer than usual, and I'm gonna trim some of this out by the time you all hear it, but we've been going on for a while.
Yes, we have. And if Matt trimmed it out, we just spent some time talking about Matthew Broderick. If you want to know how weird it got.
Especially because most of you are listening to this on Christmas Day, and what says Christmas Day more than Matthew Broderick? Although there is that awful Christmas movie with Matthew Broderick. But nobody wants to talk about Deck the Halls.
No.
Where he and Danny DeVito get into a Christmas fight. But yes, we need to Batman time. It is Batman time on our Batman podcast. Because yes, it is the holiday season. It is our annual holiday episode. So let's gather around your seasonally appropriate totem to hear some holiday Batman tales.
Yes, because there are apparently a lot of holiday Batman stories.
Oh, we aren't going to run out anytime soon. First up is Wanted Santa Claus, Dead or Alive. This is DC Special Series number 21. The writer is Denny O'Neil, with pencils by Frank Miller, inks by Steve Mitchell, colors by Glynis Oliver, letters by Ben Oda, and edited by Len Wein. The cover date is April of 1980. On Christmas Eve, Batman stalks the streets of Gotham, looking for Boomer Katz, an ex-con that Batman thinks may be up to his old tricks. We will start out with a problematic creator watch for Frank Miller, who is definitely sunk down a rabbit hole of Islamophobia, but there is all sorts of other stuff in Miller's work that remains problematic.
And this pales in comparison to all of that, but so much of it is not good.
There is definitely that. But just to reiterate, this is a comic by Frank Miller and Denny O'Neil. That is a pretty intense pedigree.
And it sucks.
Not a fan?
No. I interrupted, but yeah, maybe this just didn't have enough space to breathe. Right? It was a shorter story, but I couldn't follow it. There seemed to just be weird things going on page. I mean, it was a good enough idea, but did not work for me in the slightest.
This is, by the way, just 1980. So we are at the point where Miller is the artist on Daredevil, but not yet writer artist on Daredevil. And he is being or has just been edited by Denny during that run as well. So they're working together over at Marvel, but coming over to DC to do this story.
I didn't know Denny O'Neil was at Marvel.
Yes, he was a writer and editor in a period in between when he was, the Bat writer of the 70s and the Bat editor of the late 80s, early 90s. He wrote some Iron Man, he wrote some Daredevil, he edited a bunch. I've read some of his Daredevil, and I mean it's good. It's Denny O'Neil writing Daredevil. It's kind of what you'd expect, but he wrote in between Miller's two runs, so it's kind of not fair to put someone in between the two most lauded runs on the character. I don't think I thought this story sucked, but this is neither of these guys' best work.
No, we do have Batman in blackface. That's interesting.
Yeah, that one was not great. In black realistic rubber mask. It's not like he was, putting on makeup, but still equally not good. But I'm just
He goes to what amounts to a soup kitchen to gather information. It didn't have to be a black guy in the soup kitchen.
no, it really didn't because he was talking to a bunch of white guys. So I don't entirely know why either Miller or Glynis Oliver or some combination of the two decided to do that.
I think the two things that bugged me most about this story is that it's really, like I said, hard to follow in spots because it starts with Batman curious about a ship for some reason, and then he goes to ask about the ship, and the ship was chartered for this guy. This guy is at the soup kitchen. He's not at the soup kitchen. Turns out he's a Santa Claus, but he's a Santa Claus just so he can case a joint. Oh, but he's just there to case a joint for these bad guys who are putting him up to it. But then there are just some strange things that happen on the page. I took that where we see Santa getting shot. I took that to be Santa getting shot, but it does not appear that Santa was shot. Right? I'm not crazy, right?
I took that as him getting wings and still running.
To me, a strange panel. But in the conclusion, what I eventually pieced together is Santa and the remaining bad guy are hiding inside of a nativity scene,
Inside or behind? I took it as behind.
and then a light magically appears and shines down on them, and then suddenly disappears.
Yeah, it's a Christmas miracle.
It is, it's a very strange, very fleeting Christmas miracle.
Yeah, that one I kind of figured was going to bug you. Yeah, listen, this exists in the milieu of the Christmas story. This
Yeah.
is leaning on a bunch of those tropes. The fact that the Christmas star was stolen out of this life-size nativity, the hanging Christmas star, and suddenly the star reappears to shine its light to save our somewhat redeemed Santa. And then it's really not there, it's just a miraculous light, is very much in a certain brand of Christmas story.
It absolutely is.
So, I mean, I'm not holding that against the story because it's just playing with a trope. A lot of this reads real gritty noir-y, and it's weird to juxtapose that with the Christmas miracle at the end.
Yeah.
That Batman here is real grim, and then it's like, and there's a Christmas miracle. And I don't think that Boomer, our Santa, was put up to this originally. I think he was in on it, but then spending time at the department store where he was a Santa and the people treating him well and seeing the joy in the kids made him change his mind, and then they have to hold the gun on him there.
Yeah.
I think he was in on it and then was like, wait, no, I like this. I'm feeling good in the warm feelings of Christmas.
That's exactly how he sounded.
It really, yeah. Oh, he definitely sounded like a punch-drunk palooka.
But he was a good Santa.
Yeah.
Of course, shout out to the Twilight Zone episode of the Santa, whatever the title of that episode is.
Night of the Meek?
Yes, great pull there.
Thank you. I think you are right in that this is a 10-page story from a holiday anthology that is not readily available anymore. The DC Special Series number 21 is not something you can find on Infinite. This has been reprinted multiple times elsewhere. We were able to find it in Christmas with the Superheroes number 1, which was a 1987 or 88 reprint of classic DC Christmas stories. I agree that there's a good idea here with Batman hunting for, the Palooka on Christmas. But it drops you in media res with not a lot of explanation as to how Batman got involved in this case. Because yeah, he found out that Boomer Katz has chartered this boat, but is this simply a case of Batman keeps his eye on everyone who he's arrested who gets out of jail? I'm not particularly in love with the big brother of that.
Yeah, and how was the boat going to help poor Boomer?
I think they were going to, take the boat into international waters after they robbed the department store. I will say, I do like the idea that if Batman gives somebody a chance, he keeps their. We've talked about that before, where, Batman will let somebody basically off with a warning
Mm-hmm.
and he keeps his eye on them. But if you've done your time, especially if you're a small time crook like Boomer Katz, I don't think Batman has the time or wherewithal to keep his eye on everyone he has ever captured and who's out of jail. I'd like to believe that Batman's belief in redemption allows him to be like, okay, if you've done your time and you're out there, you're okay.
You cross that line once, though.
Then he's
Take you
gonna.
right back.
Oh yeah, dirty recidivists.
Everybody gets a pass except for Catwoman.
Yeah, no, Selena just can keep stealing constantly, and Jason can keep killing people. And okay, this is the last time.
This is the last guy you can bump off.
No, this is the last time, I swear. And this is obviously very early Miller art. There are still some really nice panels in here. I think there's one of Batman as he lands. You see like multiple sort of echoes of Batman to show his movement that look really nice. But this is not a distinctively Miller style yet.
No.
If you look at his earliest work on Daredevil, it's in that style, like the early pre Elektra saga, just when he's getting his feet wet style, which is makes sense because this is when this is coming out in that period in his evolution. But there are still hints of the Frank Miller to come. It's just still more house style than I think what people who think of Frank Miller art think of.
Yeah, I think that would be a very good way to put it.
I think I'm good. We have more to talk about with the other two stories, and again, 10 pages.
10 pages, it probably should have been 12.
Yeah, I think if we had done 12, if you had given them the equivalent of a full issue, if Batman's December issue of that year had been a 22-page version of this story, I think it would have worked better.
Yeah, we captured Boomer Cats. We see his full arc of, as you said, a better sense of why the hell Batman is on this, why he's investigating, the clues he gets. Just a bunch of missing chunks in here.
I would like to have seen Boomer as Santa.
Yeah.
Juxtapose Batman hunting him with him being Santa and thinking about as he's, casing the joint, I've been here for 2 weeks doing this and I don't want to do it no more. I don't want to rob this place.
They treated me good here, and I'm gonna repay them with this?
I
That
like
ain't
being
right.
Santa Claus.
That ain't right. I don't know. That ain't right. Oh, that means it's time. But DC Special Series number 21, Santa Claus Wanted, Dead or Alive, on the big board.
We are at 651 stories on the big board.
God damn.
Number 1 is Post-Crisis Origin of Batman, Batman Year 1.
Still at a sexy 69, it's Batman 14 to 15 Rooftops.
At 150 is Unhinged, the first arc of Secret Six. At 300 is Snow, another version of the origin of Mr. Freeze.
Coming in real high, not nearly as close to the bottom as it once was. It's here to party. Detective Comics number 594, Ecstasy.
First appearance of one Joseph Potato.
He's a good man, that Joe Potato.
At 450 is the Batman Harley Quinn one-shot that brought Harley Quinn into the DC universe. And all the way at the bottom at 651, it's Three Jokers.
What a dog turd of a story. Blech.
You might not have liked this, but this is not in that lowest strata of good God, these are terrible and problematic and bad.
No, not at all. It just needed more space.
I mean, I think we're somewhere, I would say somewhere in the 500s, mid 500s, probably.
Yeah, right now is JL Ape 500. I think we can put it below that. I think this will probably be the lowest story of the night.
I'm trying to find something that I would say was a firm bottom for this. What do we think compared to 537? Terry's mom dates a splicer. That Batman Beyond issue where Terry's mom dates a splicer.
I think this is the right area. I'm not sure where it is in relation to that. I know it's probably above 548 Talon because that thing just drags. At least this thing is done in 10 pages. I know you didn't particularly like Hollywood Nights, but I had a soft spot for that story. So I probably wouldn't put it above that at 529.
I will say my problem with Hollywood Nights is Hollywood Nights couldn't make up its mind. Is it a world where Batman is a fictional character and thus everyone is regular people and they're making a Batman movie, or conveniently are the Joker and Alfred real people and just Batman and Robin are fictional characters? Pick a lane and commit, goddammit.
Well, Matt, sometimes I can't make up my mind if I'm a fictional character.
Okay, fair. Um,
Today I'm real. Who's to say about tomorrow?
so below 529. All right, let me give you a number.
Give me a number. Hit me.
New 532. In between Last Chance, the Dead Man issue of Gotham Adventures, and above Lord of the Ring, the Lois and Batman try to steal the kryptonite ring from Lex Luthor.
The new 532 it is.
Our second story of the night is Final Christmas. This is Batman the Brave and the Bold, Volume 1, Number 12. The writer is Landry Q. Walker, with art by Eric Jones, colors by Heroic Age, letters by Rob Clark Jr., and edited by Michael Seglain and Harvey Richards. The cover date is February of 2010. Batman is summoned to the planet Rann by Adam Strange to help him stop the alien scions from unleashing a wave of antimatter that will delete all of reality, and saving all of creation may take a Christmas miracle. This is one of the more huge stakes stories that we've ever done that have been done in a done-in-one animated series style story.
It's basically the fate of the universe.
Which is very Brave and the Bold. That was a series where everything is so big and so joyfully exaggerated that it absolutely fits the milieu. That you can start out with Batman fighting Calendar Man in Gotham and then have him on the planet Rann fighting shadow demons and scions with Adam and Alana Strange, and somehow them becoming Santa Claus and his elf and imprinting this upon history.
They I'm my own grandpa themselves to creating Christmas.
Yes. Yes, they did.
Well, more like Fry's grandpa, uh, being Christmas.
Mister, I'm my own grandpa over there. But
Look, here's you might say that okay, what if when I'm going back in time, I have to have sex with somebody to ensure that I uh am created. But here's the thing. You might be stupping your own grandmother, right? So just don't, right? Do you want that or would you rather have sex with your own grandmother or would you not or would you just rather not exist? And sometimes I think non-existence is preferable.
my head hurts. You know, all I have to say is Oedipus's life would have been a lot easier knowing that he was prophesied to kill his father and marry his mother. If any woman that he might potentially marry, he asked, "How old are you?" And if you are more than 10 years older than him, just say no.
Yeah, don't do it. Don't do
Circumvent
it,
the
bud.
prophecy, man. But yeah, this is a big stakes story, but remains weirdly contained and intimate for such a big stake. It's all really 2.5 locations. It's 5 characters. This does not get gigantic. It keeps things contained and deals with the character motivations.
And we don't spend a lot of time, and especially this would be out of place in this book. Like we don't spend a lot of time explaining exactly what this process is or the exactly what the technobabble means. It just proceeds from beat to beat without over analyzing anything.
Meanwhile, your B plot, or the opening bit, struck me as absolutely hilarious of Batman chasing Calendar Man and the creators treating Calendar Man as the pre-long Halloween gaggy sort of Calendar Man, where his plan is he's developed a remote that when he presses a button will make all the lettering on every Christmas card in Gotham disappear and will cause chaos. To which Batman's response is, "Okay, I admit that one is new. Stupid, but new." And
Well, look, if the cards can't get to where they need to go, it's going to clog up the mail system. If the mail system is clogged up, then the mail's not going to get delivered. The mail doesn't get delivered. The power, bills don't get delivered. The power eventually gets shut off.
if you did it on December 19th, sure, he's doing it on the 24th. All it's going to do is erase cards that are already in people's hands.
This is assuming the people put the cards in the mail in advance and when our mail system actually functioned.
Okay, fair. But I also think it's funny that after Batman is teleported away, Calendar Man proudly says that he can now be the greatest holiday themed villain ever. Setting his sights real low. Not greatest villain ever, not greatest villain in Gotham, greatest holiday themed villain ever. So you're beating Jack O' Lantern.
Ooh.
Granted, it's a Marvel character, but still, my point stands. Maybe the Blue Snowman. Yeah, Julian Day not setting his sights terribly high on this one.
Is cocaine a holiday?
I don't believe so. So Snowflame doesn't count.
I mean, every day you use cocaine seems like it could be a holiday. You're taking a personal day.
I suppose. But yeah, so meanwhile, we get to Ran after we see Earth getting obliterated by an antimatter wave. What is visually cued, if you know your DC history, to be an antimatter wave. And then you get to Ran, and there are shadow demons, and it's like, oh yeah, it's definitely an antimatter wave, since those are the antimatter monsters that usually chum around with the Anti-Monitor. Batman and Adam Strange and Alana Strange have to fight their way to the base of the Scions, and there they find that this mad scientist is not so much obliterating the universe as using the antimatter to convert everything to data so he can then respawn the universe as he wishes it, altering the data. Again, we don't spend a lot of time dealing with what the technobabble means. It's just, hey, this is a thing. And the only thing that's protecting them is the zeta energy that Rand generates. And so Batman and Adam Strange, who have used the zeta beams to teleport to and from Rand, can then go into the antimatter core to rearrange, again, the science stuff. And as the zeta technology starts, or the zeta energy starts to wear off, and the antimatter starts altering them, and Adam Strange gets real old and grows a long white beard, and Batman is like shrunken and changed, and so suddenly you've got a guy in a red suit and a big white beard and a weird pointy mask-headed thing saving the universe. And so as everything is fixed, that image is put into the mind of all beings throughout history as something good, thus creating Christmas.
And then somebody else at some point created Jesus and tied it to Christmas.
Yes. And someone else, boy, I suddenly realized that the next story does absolutely make Krampus kind of jokery. And so thus somehow Batman's connections to the Joker somehow made Krampus as well. I'm gonna go with that. I think all the Christmas mythology can now be somehow tied to Batman.
That works.
Yeah. But again, that is a lot of weird mumbo jumbo that I just went over. But this story doesn't get weighed down by that. It just sort of breezes past it and does have a lot of Batman thinking about Christmas isn't a thing that he tends to embrace because Christmas Eve is always weird and busy. There's a reference to the Christmas episode of Brave and the Bold. But in the end, it can be a Merry Christmas. They've been given this gift, this chance to bring their world back, to fix things, to do right, and that the holidays do bring out the best in people. It is narrated in a very Brave and the Bold sort of way.
You know, they had a point. Everything probably really should be condensed down to data.
It would be harder to, I don't know, data is fact. It's much harder to bullshit around with actual raw data.
So maybe we do lose a little bit of the flavor of Earth.
Yeah, but we also can just clearly go, no, see, this is an actual fact. None of this post-truth bullshit.
Oh, it's exhausting.
Yes.
But yeah, I didn't really get into this story all that deeply because strange alien worlds, a little bit out of my lane, but not a bad story.
Okay. Landry Walker and Eric Jones work together a lot. They did a really good all ages Supergirl miniseries, Supergirl Cosmic Adventures in the Eighth Grade. That if you've got a kid in that younger readers area, 6 to 10 range, really well worth it. And I'm positive that it's going to get one of those DC for younger readers size trade releases next year when the Supergirl movie comes out.
Get him at that book fair.
Damn right. Okay.
Oh, that means it's time to final Christmas. And first Christmas on the big board.
Somewhere in the 400s?
This is a good one, right? We got Silent Night of the Batman at 407.
Not above that, that's for sure. Maybe the 440s? So, how this world goes, Gotham Adventures 21, the kidnapped little girl and the blind jazz man. What do we think in relation to that?
That one had some weird beats.
As opposed to this one where Batman and Adam Strange become Santa Claus and his elf?
Well, that one had like some weird, bad, tropey, magical Negro beats.
Okay, that's true. I don't think it's beating 429, the Bat Ape. I love the Bat Ape.
I love the Bat Ape.
So it was between 429 and then 446. What about 432, the 1984 annual? That's in 1984. Remember 1984?
I have it in parentheses on my list in all caps. It's 1984. That one was more charming to me. I think this one might have been more charming to you.
No, I think Batman and the Outsiders annual. I love all that 1984 stuff there.
How about the new 433?
Uh, yeah, yeah, that sounds fine to me. And our final story of the night is Silent Night. This is Batman Santa Claus Silent Night numbers 1 to 4. The writer is Jeff Parker, with art by Michelle Bandini, Trevor Hairsine, Danny Kim, and Steven Segovia. Colors by Alex Sinclair, letters by Pat Brousseau, and edited by Ben Abernathy. The cover date is February of 2024. The Krampus has escaped its eternal imprisonment and plans to make Christmas a day of horror. Batman and the Justice League must ally with Santa Claus to stop the monster's plan and save Christmas. This is a lot of fun.
It very much is.
Jeff Parker writing very clearly in modern continuity, but still with verve. Not quite the full verve of 66, because that wouldn't necessarily work here, but still with some pep in his step, so to speak. Possibly my favorite moment in this whole thing, and there are some great moments, is Superman arriving on the scene looking absolutely devastated that Batman never told him that he knew Santa Claus.
And not just that, but the moment later in the story where, of course, Santa does the bit, when he meets the hero for the first time, is like, yeah, I know where you live, buddy. I know where you grew up. I read your letter. But the thing Clark asked from Santa, new coffee pot from Ma and Pa. I'm like, that is a Clark ask right there.
Even if he thought coffee was kind of yucky.
You know what? It is kind of yucky, but we drink it to get through the day.
The best of those lines is at the very end when Damien has been taken by the Krampus and the other monsters are getting ready to destroy Santa's workshop. And Santa sends the Justice League to deal with that because he has a lost child to find as a gift to his father, whose wish is the only one he could never grant. Yeah. Christmas stories, for all of the light and hope that are often in them, there is always that undercurrent of melancholy. The greatest Christmas story of them all, outside of the Bible, A Christmas Carol, despite the end, which is this tale of redemption and hope, the darkness of A Christmas Carol throughout is what gives us that balance. And I mean, it's also equally at the end, Santa invites Damien to ride on the sleigh with him and his, buddy Krampus, now that Krampus has redeemed himself, to help make up for the fact that Damien never had a childhood. Again, it's like, oh, it's really true.
Yeah.
Poor Damien. This is a warrior Santa. This is clearly a Santa very much inspired by the Nordic roots of Santa Claus, of the wild hunt, which is mentioned, and Krampus. And we see this in various bits of media now, every now and then, these big buff Santas who kick ass. But this guy is still Santa. There's still the underlying, he does this because, and I think it's great that you see each of the Trinity gives their own reason why, and it's all very true to each of them. Bruce thinks he does it because he will always remember the look in the eye of the child who couldn't get a present. In Diana, it's about, the hope that he brings. And to Clark, it's because it's better to give than to receive. Parker gets all of these characters really well, up to and including Damien. That Damien, he is clever, and he is as standoffish as he is, and he is, there's still a kid in there who
Mm-hmm.
wants to be a kid. And you get, again, those couple of moments and his indignation. I don't believe in Santa Claus, despite Santa Claus standing, right in front of him after killing vampires. It is awesome that Santa is killing vampires.
Look, Santa has to have a lot of skills, logistics, navigation,
And
vampire killing.
I mean, you've been around for, centuries. You pick stuff up. By the way, there's a truly terrible, calling it a B movie would be too generous. It's like a C or a D movie from somewhere in the 20 teens, I think, called Werewolf Santa.
Oh no.
Enough
No,
said.
no, no.
Yeah, it bad. But yeah, this is Krampus has escaped from where he was imprisoned, which, as it turns out, is the Phantom Zone. Because if you're gonna lock up a Christmas demon, you might as well put him in the Phantom Zone. And
Well, to Santa Claus's credit, like he didn't intend to put Krampus into the Phantom Zone. Like Krampus just got a little out of hand and a little frustrated, and Santa tried to give him like a little boop, and he just booped him into the Phantom Zone. And he tried to bring him back, but it just didn't work. So Santa moved on with his life.
and we get Krampus here more as a figure of mischief than malice. This Krampus is bad cop to Santa's good cop, but not in the most extreme versions of that from the myth. He never actually eats a child.
You just threaten the kid. You threaten him. You cajole him into being better.
Yeah, exactly. Santa sent him into the Phantom Zone accidentally when Krampus is like, "Oh yeah, I ate these children," and as it turns out, it was just a prank that he lured the children away and hid them, and then Santa can't find him because he's lost in the Phantom Zone, which is a pretty terrible place to be. But over the years, Santa's imprisoned all of these mythological monsters, and now Krampus, who is possessed by some of the actual phantoms of the Phantom Zone, is freeing them just because they're evil. It seems like the Phantoms have encountered Krampus's memories and are letting him play out the darkest urges that Krampus would never actually do. It's complicated, but it all works out in the end because Krampus casts them out and he and Santa go back to doing their thing.
And yet
Everybody,
somehow there's a sequel.
I'm trying to remember. The sequel, I think, is that some of the monsters got away and they're dealing with some of those monsters. If there's one complaint I have about this story,
If you could only have one.
it's the artists. It's that there's multiple artists and
And it's only 4 issues.
it's only 4 issues, and some of those issues have multiple artists. It's not like it's 4 artists, one doing each issue. You're changing artists midstream, and not all of their styles necessarily gel together. I would have preferred one consistent artist or at least one consistent style.
And you can clearly see that this is, as you mentioned, a weirdly in continuity book, right? This references night terrors. I'm like, holy shit, I haven't seen that mentioned in a while. But also this book has got to hit a deadline, right? This book has got to come out for the holiday season. You don't have a Santa Claus book in July. So you could see how, look, we're just going to make the sausage. We'll bring on the artists that we got to bring on. But we are going to hit that deadline. So, yeah, I think once you commit to a book like this, inevitably this is probably what you're going to get in terms of the art. Unless you give them, 3 years, you tell them where Night Terrors is going, you let them work in that little detail. This is probably a Robin costume that didn't exist for very long. That seemed to kind of date that in one particular moment.
I think that costume was around for about a year.
It's
And
not a bad one. I
no,
don't dislike it.
no, it's a fine costume, but it is a very particular moment in Damien's time with the red and gray Robin costume. We get most of your Justice League in here. I mean, you get a lot of your Bat family. You got Batman and Robin and Nightwing and Batgirl, the Trinity, and Hawkgirl and Green Arrow and Black Canary and the Joe Moline Green Lantern, who's a character I love, but boy, is this really Joe Moline's first time working with the Justice League is in the Santa miniseries? I mean, I guess technically the first time would have been Future State, but her first in continuity time is that time they teamed up with Santa.
Why not?
Hey, any chance to see more of Joe Moline, because that is a great character. Oh, and Blue Beetle. And in the end, the Justice League gets to have a big party in Santa's workshop where time stands still so they can have time where they don't have to worry about the world outside, which is a nice moment.
I guess that means what? They work for years to get every Christmas ready?
Maybe? Timey-wimey, wibbly-wobbly. It makes my brain hurt.
Yeah, it does. A lot of discussion about time tonight.
I also did like one of the things that escaped was a sea monster and call Aquaman. We don't have to call Aquaman every time there's something in the sea.
It's close to shore.
And then at the end, when all the Justice League get together, wait, there was a sea monster and nobody called me?
There was a lot going on in that last page.
Yeah. Jeff Parker definitely he knows where to drop a good joke. And grouchy Superman throughout this whole thing is just funny, or at least at the beginning, when Blue Beetle comes like, you just called me to find the oldest tree here? Superman's like, I could have done that. I could have just looked through all of them and counted their rings. You didn't need to call him away on Christmas. You're just upset because I didn't tell you about Santa. I love the fact that Batman trained with Santa Claus.
Well, of course, man trained with everybody.
What is one of the greatest trackers in all history? Of course I trained with him. It's just a charming little story. It never takes itself too seriously, but it maintains its stakes. It is set well within the DC universe, but is never weighed down by all the DC universe stuff going on in it.
No, I mean it makes nods to, what was going on at the time, but it doesn't draw too deeply from them.
And it's smooth. It goes down real smooth. It reads real quick and real easy. This is an easy one sitting read. Again, this is another one that they could probably reprint in one of those DC for younger readers or DC for teens, smaller formats, and it would work fine.
And I think this is one of the rare stories that is absolutely perfect at its length. This is 4 issues. I didn't need 5. 3 was probably going to be pushing it. Plenty of charm. Does not overstay its welcome.
Story of the night.
Yes, absolutely.
Oh, and Zatanna. I forgot to mention Zatanna's in here too.
And no Paul Dini.
No.
Oh, I think that means it's time to put Batman Santa Claus Silent Night on the big board.
So we just said story of the night. So
What's our new middle?
the middle. So we're at 652, 326.
Batman 521, 522 Swamp Things.
And I like that, but I think this probably would go above that. I don't think. Oh, so 300 is Snow, that Mr. Freeze origin, the one with Batman having that team of people he'd recruited with the really gorgeous Seth Fisher art. Right around, and then 299 is one of as another Christmas story, the Batman annual that has that Ace one-off from Tom King and a really good Scott Snyder and then some lesser stuff.
Do you think this beats Clash of Symbols at 287?
How does right below Clash of Symbols sound?
New 288. I like it.
That does it for tonight. A happy holiday to all who celebrate, whatever your holidays may be at this time of year. And next week, we stick with annual traditions with our New Year's Elseworlds episode, New Year, New Batman.
Ooh.
Remember, you can support the podcast on Patreon at patreon.com/batchat with Matt and Will, where you can get shout outs, bonus content, pick a story, and even come on the show. We'd like to thank those Patreon backers: Dan Grote, Josh Wheel, Mrs. Abigail Hartbaum, Asimov Fangirl, Tony Thornley,
Go Aggies.
Sam Hopper,
Go to bed, Sam. It's late.
John Wickham,
Oh, John, you lovely boy. You pretty boy. You so pretty. Love you. Please pick a good book. Please pick a good book.
Robert Secundus,
You know what, Bobby? You've been doing much better lately about the discourse. It's been several days in a row where you didn't want me to, you didn't make me want to throw my phone. You're doing great, Bobby. Love you, Bobby.
Tim Rooney, Giorgio Sergioli, David Wheel,
World's greatest gray belt.
Alexander Wheel, Matt McThorne,
McThorny.
Dan Off,
Barely knew her.
Nate Randell, Daniel Mosley, Ross Holmes,
Mr. Random Ace.
Will Crisp,
Me compadre, I will see you Sunday.
Carlos Cordova, Jordan Jennings, and Charlie Etheridge Nunn for their support. This show is available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music/Audible, YouTube Music, Podbean, and on comicsxf.com, where new episodes drop every Thursday. You can find me on Blue Sky, where I talk about comics and other random things, and Letterboxd, where I review all the movies I watch, both at MattLaz1013.
You can continue to find me on Twitter at Will Nevin for some reason unbeknownst to me. I am going to turn down the heat because it's getting fucking hot in this house, and I don't want to pay for that. And then I'm gonna get some dinner, and then I'm gonna go to bed. Good night, Huntsville.
And be sure to visit ComicsXF at comicsxf.com or ComicsXF on Blue Sky for our weekly Friday Bat Chat roundup of new Bat books, for my other show, the ComicsXF Interview Podcast, where my longtime best friend Dan Grote and I interview comics creators, retailers, publishers, journalists, and other related tradespeople, as well as all the other stuff Will and I are writing. And stay safe out there, folks. Gotham is not a place to be after dark.